Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're here to do an unboxing and a quick impressions video and kind of overview of this Lenovo laptop that I just got. It's crazy how many things I've done a review on this channel for Lenovo, because that was never the case before. These are like the Lenovo Legion Go S and then the Legion Go 2 and stuff like that, and now I have a laptop from them, which is crazy because I was looking for a laptop for a while now. You guys can see right behind me here, I obviously have a full-on desktop right here, and I have a really good desktop with a 5090 sitting behind me. So I always wanted a laptop, but I knew I never wanted anything like, it wasn't going to be my primary gaming device. I don't need to buy a laptop with a 5090 in it like it's going to be my primary source, because for the most part, if I want to do anything, it's going to be on this computer when it comes to gaming if I'm in my house. And now I have the Legion Go 2, which I've done a ton of reviews on. If I want to do gaming like on a handheld when I'm away from home, on a plane or something like that. But I did want something to kind of fulfill the need of, like, I know this is going to sound insane, but, you know, I have my office right here. I have my living room over there with my projector and stuff like that that you guys have seen. And sometimes I go to family and friends' houses and stuff. And sometimes you need a laptop to do certain things, like when I edit a video, or if I'm looking at a YouTube thing, or if I want to just surf the web and stuff like that on a bigger screen, or sometimes for light gaming and stuff like that. I'm not saying I won't do any gaming on this, because I will, depending on what I'm looking for, but it's not going to be like my primary device for it. But I do like to have a laptop in front of me while I'm watching something on the projector. If I'm watching a TV show, it doesn't need my undivided attention and stuff like that. But I didn't want to spend like $4 or $5 grand on a laptop that wasn't my primary gaming device when I have a 5090 sitting right here, because if I'm sitting in that room over there, I'm not going to choose to play on the laptop unless if I'm just trying to play something, like, you know, while I'm watching something on TV. But I already have the Legion Go 2, so I've been going back and forth for a while, and this one went on sale recently, and I've heard a lot of good things about this one. Again, I've never had a Lenovo laptop ever. I've had Alienware laptops before, which I did look into before I got this one, and I've had Razer laptops as well, but those are a lot more expensive, number one, the Razer laptops, and number two, for the Alienware laptops, they don't make any OLED, and as you guys know on this channel, once you go OLED, it is hard to go back. Both of these are OLED over here. My pinball machine is now OLED. The Legion Go 2 is obviously OLED, so I was like, I'm not going backwards. I'm not going to have an LCD, and that's what all Alienwares are right now. So then I started looking a little harder, and I found this Lenovo Legion, what model is this again, if I can remember? The Legion 7i 16-inch laptop, and this is a perfect size because I want portability first, because I want to be carrying this to work when I'm, you know, at my lunch break and I want to take out a laptop and work on that. Or if I'm at a family and friend's house, or if I'm putting it over there while I'm working on it. I don't want like a beefy laptop that's like 10 pounds, because again, it's not my primary gaming device. So I wanted something in the middle. I think a 16-inch is the perfect size, because I think 14 and 13 is a little too small. And I think 18 is approaching like you want a desktop replacement, which is not what I was looking for. So we have this laptop here. I'm super excited about it. I got it in white because it looks really clean. I've never seen it in person yet, so we're going to be taking a look at it for the very first time. I heard the keyboard is amazing on it, and it's one of the best gaming or keyboards on a laptop out there. And, you know, it still rocks a 5070 on there, so it's still no slouch. And we got to talk about, you know, one of the only downsides to this laptop that I already knew and know before going in. And it has a processor that's really good. I don't know if it says it on the side, because now I can't remember. Yeah. The Intel Core U9-275HX with 32 gigabytes of RAM, 1 terabyte of SSD, and a 5070 on it. So again, it has really, really good specs on it, with the minor caveat that we'll talk about later on in the video. But I'm really, really super excited to unbox this and check this out with you guys. So let's go ahead and get into the video.
Gaming tech, eating brekkie is the gaming tech. Going for a brekkie is the gaming tech. Gaming tech is the gaming tech. Gaming techie.
All right, guys, so let's do it. Let's go ahead and unbox this laptop. There's a sticker right here to let you know that it has not been opened by anybody. Again, I am excited about this laptop, to finally have a laptop that I can either carry around the house if I'm not in this room and I'm watching TV elsewhere, or if I'm going to a friend's house and I need a laptop with me, or a family's house, whatever the case may be. You know, on a lot of trips that I go on as well, sometimes you need to take a laptop. It's been a long time. I can't remember the last time I actually had a laptop, because I've had this desktop for so long that I never thought I needed it. That, you know, it's been at least a few years that I've had this laptop, or that I haven't had a laptop. So really crazy, strange turn of events here. All right, so we're gonna see this for the very first time here. I'm gonna open this up sideways. Oh, we got the pickup sticker sitting right here. I did pick this up at Best Buy. They have a sale on this for $1,700 as opposed to what it came out with. I think the original price was like $25. Now, most of the time you can find it for 23, but I got it for 17 and change and stuff like that. And I got some cash back as well. So it's a really good deal for what you're getting at this point, especially with how everything is so high in the market everywhere. We already know. I mean, I just paid $13.50 for a Legion Go 2. So paying $300 more for a full-on laptop with a 16-inch, is kind of crazy. But here we are, seeing this for the very first time. So right on the top here, you just got some instruction manual, some keyboard shortcuts that you can kind of access on how you can switch from 60 hertz to 165 to 240, because this is an OLED screen that goes to 240 hertz, which is really exciting. And it has a 3K panel as well, so a little bit higher than 1400 resolution. So it's kind of in the middle, so it's perfect. So put that to the side, nothing really important there. Then right here, we have the charger. Let's see how big this charger actually is. It doesn't seem to be too bad. Actually, no, it's pretty big. It's a behemoth, as expected. A lot of these laptop chargers always need, like, a really big, thing to carry around, because, it's a 245 watt power supply, as you can see here. So, pretty thick power supply, which is not really a shock to anyone at this point. And then the other part of the power supply as well is sitting right there. Nothing else on here, so we're going to go ahead and just put this back here. And then right here in the middle is, of course, the laptop itself. And I always love, we're going to put the box to the side because there's nothing else in there. I love a laptop that just has a really good look to it. And that's one of the things that I really liked about getting this one is I like white. I think it stands out. I think it looks really classy. And there's not a lot of white laptops out there, especially gaming ones. They're all usually just black. And this one, I can already tell, is exactly what I was looking for. Not just because of the white, but because look how sleek and nice looking this laptop is. I mean, this is exactly what I want. I wanted a sleek laptop that, still can handle gaming if I want to do it, but is a PC first and a gaming laptop second, which is what I was looking for. So this is really, really nice here. Really nice design. Love the white, as you guys are looking at here on the close-up. You got the nice Legion logo in the front. You got the nice ports on the back here. You got HDMI out. You got your FireWire port back there. You got two USB-C ports that do deliver power, 65 watts or 100 watts on it. You got your headphone jack there. You got a USB-A port sitting right there, and then another USB-A port on the other side. And then you also have a micro SD card reader as well, which is really nice. You got the nice looking fan on the bottom, and now we're going to open it up here for the very first time here on the desk. I'm really, really excited to open this up and check this out. Boom, there it is right there. You guys can get a close-up of this right now. We do have the little felt that usually goes on these screens here. And then you got the best from Lenovo services that you can use. Man, this is a really, really nice looking laptop. I'm not going to lie. And first of all, this may not be something that everybody agrees with, but I really, really like the fact that they add like the little stickers on the side that you guys are looking at right now, where they put like the eSupport sticker, Intel Core Ultra 9, and the Nvidia GeForce. I'm a sticker person. I like stickers. I think I have some on. Oh, actually, I don't have one on my current desktop. Probably because I just couldn't fit it. But I still love it, and I love the look of this laptop. I love the look of the screen. I like the little face, the webcam that it has up there that you can use. And yeah, this is a really nice looking laptop. Like, this rivals like what I envision for a laptop as far as looks and quality of everything. And it weighs some. I don't know the exact weight of this. I'll have to look it up. But it weighs some, obviously, but it doesn't overly weigh like 10 pounds plus or anything like that, like a crazy Alienware might. But also, most importantly, is I think it rivals, like, I have a MacBook sitting right there, and I think this looks nicer. I like the white. I like the way that this all looks, and the RGB keyboard's about to light up as we power it on. Let's see if it has some battery. I don't know if it does. It might be dead. I feel like everything Legion Go has to be plugged in first, because the Legion Go 2 was the same way, and you couldn't power it on before plugging it in, and I think this is the same because it's not turning on. And I also, which I'm really excited about, this comes with a 1 terabyte drive. SSD, but it also has another slot right next to it that you can open up on the bottom and add another drive to it as well, another M2 slot, which is awesome because not every laptop lets you do that, and this lets you upgrade a lot of things on here. You can upgrade the RAM, you can upgrade the Wi-Fi card, you can upgrade to another drive, so that's really cool. And because, as you guys, if you saw my video on the Legion Go 2, I upgraded that to a 4 terabyte and took out the 1 terabyte that was in there. I'm going to take the 1 terabyte out of the Legion Go 2 and put it to use and put it in here, so this will turn into a 2 terabyte laptop, which is even better. I just have to open up the bottom and get in there with these small screws that are back here. It shouldn't be anything too complicated, but we'll set up Windows and do everything on here first, set up everything good, make sure everything is working before we start opening up the bottom. But still excited to get 1 more terabyte of space and not have to spend any extra money, just use what I already have. So obviously this is not powering on. I need to plug it in, so we're going to do that first, plug it in, and then I will walk you guys through like the screen and stuff like that, and show you some of the things that I have. I'm not going to walk you through like the Windows like initial screen because that's a bunch of useless stuff that you guys have seen a million times. But once we get into Windows and set everything up, I'll do a little walk around of the laptop again and show you guys the desktop and just how good the screen looks in that case, and show you guys some YouTube videos on how good the screen looks, and then of course some games as well, and talk a little bit more. So let's go ahead and get to it. Okay guys, so everything is now set up and done. First of all, I love the Legion Go backgrounds that they always use. I have the one on the Legion Go 2 that I really love. They always have like different ones. I just think they're really cool and really futuristic looking, and this looks fantastic on the OLED screen if you guys are getting it there. I also really like the keyboard. Yeah, I've been using this keyboard, and I've seen a lot of reviews before I got this on how great the keyboard is, and I definitely agree. Not only do I love the lighting and how everything is lit up, and it looks fantastic lit up against the white, which is one of my favorite things about the white color, is the LEDs pop when you have them like this. I just think it looks really clean. I love like the white logo being lit up there as well. Really small bezels on the screen as you guys are looking at, which looks fantastic on this 16-inch screen, so really thin bezels. The trackpad, if you're OCD, it's a little off center as you can tell, but it doesn't bother me. The trackpad feels really good and has a really nice like clicky feel. It really is smooth when you're like moving it around and stuff, and it has like this tactile feedback when you're actually clicking it, which I really like. Like I talked about before, I love these on the side. That's just me. Adds a little bit of color to the whiteness that you have on there. You have the webcam that you can use that uses Windows Hello. So when I'm on Windows Hello, it will actually log you in with your face, which is awesome. And yeah, I mean, it's been a great experience. Obviously, I got a few things I want to show you guys. The first thing I want to show you guys here. First thing I want to show you guys here is, as you can hear, is the audio, not the audio, sorry, the HDR. This is a 4K HDR video being played from YouTube. And you can tell it looks fantastic. And what I also like as well, let me move the cursor out of the way there, is that for the most part, you get a pretty good like size YouTube video. You know how like obviously it's gonna get cut out a little bit because of the nature of videos, but this gives you a nice full length picture where you're not looking at gigantic black bars like you do on an iPad or something like that. You actually see this and you get really small black bars, and you can see the OLED on here. It looks fantastic. The colors pop. It looks really good. I mean, I guess it's not really a surprise at this point on how good OLEDs look, but obviously this is really good. And I did calibrate the HDR using the Windows app before we did this video, so that's all done. You know, I've done that already on the Legion Go and did a tutorial on how to do that. This is the same thing, but the only thing is when you do the darker side on the HDR calibration, instead of setting it to 1100 like I did on the Legion Go 2, this one goes up to 1050, so that's where I left it. But other than that, it looks fantastic, and I'll let you guys just look at some of these images for a minute. All right, guys, so we'll stop that there. So yeah, that gives you a pretty good idea on the OLED screen now. I also wanted to show you guys the speaker quality on here. I have the microphone sitting right on top of the speaker in a second here, just to show you. So I'm going to just go ahead and download Apple Music really quickly here from the store. And also, as you guys can see on the screen right now, I just got a pop-up here from the Windows Store about the Xbox Game Pass. So this came technically with 3 months of Xbox Game Pass, but the PC version, the one that's $16 a month. But I already subscribe to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. So it's actually converting my code and giving me a month and a half extra of Game Pass Ultimate, which is awesome. And I got the same thing with the Legion Go too, and it did the same thing. So now you can see I won't be paying for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate now until April 25th, 2026, which is awesome. So you guys are hearing it right now. I will let it play here for a minute. Definitely is not the loudest laptop that I've heard, but I'll let you guys listen to this for a minute. So there you go. That's how it sounds like there. Like I said, it's not the loudest set of speakers that I've ever heard. And it definitely doesn't have any like crazy bass or anything. It does have like decent audio quality for laptop speakers, especially at this thin size. And it is definitely something that I would use to watch a YouTube video and stuff like that. It's not like it's not like loud enough or something like that. It sounds, good enough. As a matter of fact, we'll just do one more of a YouTube video here, just of somebody just talking, just to showcase.
Tracked Shoot to Survive is dropping this week on Meta Quest 3 and Quest 3S on November 13th, and the developers, People Can Fly, gave me the go-ahead to drop some first impressions for you all. And in today's...
So you can hear it sounds good, and it has good clarity and stuff like that. It doesn't sound muffled or anything like that. It has good audio quality, and it is decently loud for a YouTube video and stuff like that, but it's definitely not something you're going to be using for music, and you'll definitely probably want to pair this with a pair of headphones or something if you want to take gaming seriously. Which you probably would anyway, because you're going to want to have a microphone to talk to your friends and stuff like that. But I mean, it gets the job done when you're in a pinch and you don't want to wear headphones and stuff. But it's, like I said, not the best speakers I've heard on a laptop, but also definitely not the worst. They sound pretty decent. The other thing I wanted to talk about on this laptop that I really appreciate that I haven't really, I mean, maybe other laptops have been doing this recently, but it's not something I've come accustomed to, is I really like the way that the lighting effect works on here. Because, for example, when you hold the function key down, you see how it turns everything off with the lights except for what's actually something that you can actually hit, which is awesome. So you'll never forget their keyboard shortcuts, because as soon as you hit the function key, you can see what's highlighted. So this one here actually cycles through the effects of all the different lighting effects that they have. So if I were to hold this down and do this, you can see on the screen there it's going from 1 to 2. So now when I let it go, now it's a static lighting. It's not moving. Now if I go again, now at 3, you can see every time you hit a letter, now it does like this effect instead. So really, really cool stuff that you can kind of just manipulate that. I do think 1 is my favorite because I love having everything lit up with the multicolors. That's just my way of doing it with a white keyboard, but obviously there's plenty of options that you can customize there if you want to. But really like those keyboard shortcuts. And then again, if you hold the function key, you can see that the Q and R are kind of open. And the reason that R is open is because when you hit R, it actually cycles through and switches from 60 hertz, as you can see on the screen, and now it quickly switches to 240 hertz as well. So you can quickly switch when you're in game if you want to go from 60 to 240. Obviously 60 will save you some battery life. 240 would be a lot smoother when you're playing different games, which is obviously awesome. And then the function Q button just goes through like performance modes and silent mode depending on like what you want to set to. So it's really cool to have those shortcuts there and really highlight. And I also kind of like, people probably won't care about this, but I'm kind of one of those weird people that like different shortcuts that do different things for me that usually aren't there. And also you have the function brightness up here as well, so you can adjust the brightness of the screen up and down from here. But there's also this one here where if you press that, it brings up Copilot. Now obviously that's a new thing because Copilot's now become a thing, and as somebody who's into the AI stuff and trying new things, I love being at the forefront of new technology. I love trying this new AI stuff, and I'm glad that there's a button right there that I can easily get to Windows Copilot. I've been using it a lot more at work and stuff, so having a dedicated button to it to bring it up will actually probably make me use it more. The other thing I wanted to talk about here is just the apps that this thing comes with. It did come with McCaffrey, which I immediately uninstalled. That's the only thing that is on here that I was like, get that out of here. Then it also has Legion Space, which I'm kind of used to from the Legion Go 2. Obviously, this isn't exactly the same, but it does have your stuff on here where you can go from quiet, which is what I was talking about with the function key there. It goes from quiet to balanced and then to performance if you want to when you're on battery. Right now, you can see use the power adapter provided for accessing performance. So right now it's on balance mode. You would have to change it in the Windows operating system if you want to adjust this to performance, because off the bat, you can only go from quiet to balance when you're on battery power. Otherwise, when you cycle through that function key and the key one that you saw, it will function through performance as well. So very easy to switch from quiet, balance, and performance on there. You have your brightness setting on here. You have your GPU. This does have an Intel GPU along with the Nvidia. So if you want to rotate it back and forth from hybrid and you know, using it when you want to, or having it hybridly go when it needs to, depending on what you're playing, that's there. You can turn off this little option here, which basically turns on this little misclick thing, so the Windows key will be disabled, and the touchpad when you're playing a certain game and a mouse is detected. The GPU automatically overclocks when you have it on performance mode as well. You have your a little store here that they sometimes sell games on, which is the same thing that they do in the Legion Go 2. You have like a library here, so anytime you install games, which I haven't installed any yet, they will show up here in a library. So that's cool. And then you have your gaming zone, which has two interesting features. With this enabled, your top in-game highlights are automatically captured and crafted into professional quality clips with stunning animation. So I'm actually excited to take a look at that in the future, because, yeah, a lot of different apps out there now capture clips, like the Nvidia and Xbox and stuff. But this is saying that it adds, you know, top tier animations and stuff to certain games. So I'm excited to see what that looks like. And then they have this one here, Game Companion. You'll get notified and cheered on when you make a kill or get knocked out, helping you win certain games. And it says here at the bottom, highlighted, that League of Legends, Dota 2, PUBG, Battlegrounds, World of Tanks, Counter-Strike 2, Fortnite, World of Warships, Overwatch 2, Destiny 2, Battlefield 2042, and Street Fighter 6 are some of the games that are supported with these above two features. Hopefully Battlefield 6 gets added to this soon, but definitely want to explore this. That sounds kind of fun. And then they also have the Legion Advantage, which is different than the other one that's more of a gaming-centric app, their Legion software. This one's more like a PC-dedicated app, and this just has all your information as far as your serial number, getting in touch with support, you know, how much battery you have left when it's running, and depending on what you're doing, your device settings and stuff like that, your system updates, so you can do system updates from here, like your BIOS and stuff like that. You can kind of just check for updates. I had a BIOS update when I first turned this on. You have like my software sitting here that will show you all the software that's installed. So just a bunch of security stuff. So it's just a PC app that, hey, here's a McAfee stuff that I uninstalled before, and just giving you some things on here. But yeah, this is more of a PC dedicated app that they have installed on here that you can use if you need to, that comes pre-installed as well. Everything else that I have on here I installed myself. I started installing Steam, Discord, and Google Chrome and stuff. But yeah, I think that's a good overview on this. I think the next thing we're going to do before we start installing games and I start showing you some gameplay on here, the next thing I want to do is turn the laptop over and actually install that SSD that I was talking about. So we're actually going to turn this laptop off here real quick and completely shut it down. And I'm going to take the screws out of the back of this, and it should be a pretty easy swap to put in that SSD. So we'll do that now. So we're here on the back of the laptop here, as you can see, and you just got to take out all of these screws that are sitting around. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws to take out of the back plate, and that should come right out, and then we'll see what's behind it. Okay, so as you guys can see, we have the inside right here. And really easy, you just take that cover off. Once you take all the screws out, you just kind of lift it up and that's it. There's nothing special to it. And you can see everything we have going on here. So like I talked about, this is the original SSD that's right here. You could put in a long one if you want to, but that's the one that it came with. So most people are probably not going to touch that. Wi-Fi chip that you can technically upgrade if you wanted to. The RAM is underneath here that you can upgrade if you want to, but this has 32 gigabytes of RAM, so I probably won't ever do that. No need for more than 32 on a laptop like this. But yeah, so you can see the SSD goes in right here. So we're going to go ahead and put that in real quick. All right, so we got that all installed and all ready to go. And as you can see here on the computer, we now have an extra 1 terabyte of storage. So I got my Windows, and now we have the extra one sitting there, which is awesome. Gonna try to keep my games on the extra and then keep my Windows to actual things that I need, so I don't run out of space so quickly. Since, like I said, this is half gaming laptop, but half also, you know, everything else that I do on a computer when I'm on the go or not in the same room as my desktop. So yeah, that's all done. So now we're going to go ahead and install some games, obviously, just to see how it runs. I'm going to install the ones that I would play the most on here, like Battlefield 6 is one I definitely want to try since it's the newest one, and see how much we can push that, and then a few other games as well. All right, guys, so here we are back with the laptop here, and before we start getting into some of the games and stuff, I did want to talk about some of the things I found while installing a bunch of things on this laptop. I installed Steam, Discord, EA, Epic Launcher, a bunch of different things, and I wanted to talk about, first of all, let's talk about the sound first. So you guys heard me say before that the sound on here is not like the greatest thing in the world when it comes to being loud and stuff like that. And I was, a little disappointed even more so when I started testing some of these games, and I was like, these don't sound loud at all. I wish I can, I'm gonna have to get headphones because they just sound really tiny, and I'm kind of surprised. Well, I started researching online just to make sure I wasn't crazy, and I found an app that people were recommending called FX Sound, which is free on the Microsoft Store, and it's literally just a simple app like this that integrates with your speakers, and you can change it from gaming to volume boost to whatever the case may be. And it's a gigantic difference on the sound quality and the loudness, more importantly, of what you get with these speakers. I'm going to show you guys really quickly right now. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off this interacting at all. So this is going to sound like it would have sounded, regularly. So let's go ahead and say that we were watching, let's play my own videos just so no one says that I'm using their videos just in case. So this right now is at full volume. So I'm going to go ahead and put the volume, the speaker down so you guys can hear it. Which is the Legion Go S, the Z1 Extreme Edition. So we're going to compare these devices. And now I'm going to turn this on, and you guys will hear the difference. Devices on where they kind of land in my house, what I'm going to do with these devices, and why I bought these devices to begin with. So let's go ahead and get into the video. So this is off, listening to my intro, and this is on. All right, guys, so I want to start off with why I got these devices. Again, one more time, that's off. The Legion Go S was actually the first device out of all these PC handhelds that I've gotten over the last month. And the reason that I got this one is because... So you guys can hear, it's a massive difference to the volume. Like, it's a big difference where now I'm like, all right, that's loud enough for a laptop. That makes sense. I don't feel like it's, like, too low anymore. So, yeah, it's much better. So download FX Sound from the Microsoft Store. And see if that works for you. It's just a simple app, and it works really well. And as you guys just heard, it makes a massive difference to the loudness, and the speakers still stay clear. So that's good. The next thing I want to talk about is we are running on battery power right now just because it's easier for me to record where I am situated right now, and I don't feel like getting the power cord connected and everything. But keep in mind that you can still go into the settings even though you have to override it, and you can put on battery to change the power mode to best performance, so you're still going to get like the best performance. It comes usually on balanced. And remember that keyboard thing that I showed you before? If I look down here and I hit the FN key and I scroll through Q, it will go through silent mode or best power efficiency like you're seeing it doing on Windows. And then it will go to auto, which will go to balanced essentially. And then it will go back to best power efficiency. It won't actually scroll through best performance when you're not plugged in with that button on the keyboard. And this light up here is really awesome because it actually changes to let you know what you're on. White is on balance, blue is on power efficiency, and red means you're in power mode. But it won't actually change that color unless if you hit the FN key. So right now it's set to balance, which is white. If I set it to power efficiency, it will turn to blue, as you can see there. But if you change it to manually to best performance, it will not change to red. It will only change to red when you're actually on hooked up to the power cord and you're cycling through those options. Just to keep that in mind. Don't know if that's the way that they intended it to be. It probably should be red right now to let you know you're in best performance because I manually overrode it, but apparently that is not the case. All right, so we're going to start off just showcasing a bunch of different games for about a minute or two each so I can show you a variety of them. We're going to start off with Street Fighter 6 here, and I am using an Xbox controller for all of these just because it's a little bit easier than trying to use my keyboard while you guys are watching. So no problem with that. What I will say when it comes to these games that people have talked about, and one of the things about this laptop that kind of put people off a little bit, and you can hear how much louder it is now compared to the way it was before, But it's that this thing only has 8 gigabytes of VRAM. So I'm actually going to put up on the screen while I go through these games. Of course, we're going to show the FPS in most of these games and also show the VRAM. So you guys can see the VRAM that the games are using at this 60 by 1600 resolution, a 3K screen essentially. Because some of these games will definitely like get to its breaking point when it comes to that. Now, I haven't found any game that I've played that I can't find ways around it by either... You basically have a few options. If it's running over the 8 gigabyte VRAM limit at this resolution in some games, then you can either switch the graphics from ultra to high instead, and that will obviously alleviate the VRAM from being that high. You can just alter some settings if you need to, and you can just do that instead of altering everything to high. You can turn on DLSS sometimes, so you can upscale instead of running at full resolution, which will also help with VRAM depending on the game. But regardless, a lot of games are going to be hovering around the 80 to 90% VRAM usage. I really wish that they would have obviously, included more RAM, but that's Nvidia's fault for only including 8 gigabytes on the 5070. They would have had to put a 5070 Ti in here in order to get 12 gigabytes of RAM. So that is unfortunate. Hopefully Nvidia changes that next year, because in 2025, 8 gigabytes is not enough. You're always going to be running into limitations. Imagine if this laptop had a 4K screen like some of the Razer laptops have. It would have never worked out. It would have been miserable. But anyway, you guys will see that throughout the video, and we'll talk more about that in my final thoughts.
All right, first round. What's going to happen? Jump in, finds the mark. Player one pushes the opponent into the corner. All that effort for so little payoff. All right. Gets the jump in. Grabs him. Neither of them willing to back off. Throws them to negate the block. Taking stock. With the life gap opening up. They need to lead. Yes.
So there you go. That's from Street Fighter 6. Runs really well. All right, so now we're here in tape to tape. As you can see, Street Fighter ran pretty well with everything maxed out, and VRAM usage was about 80%. So now we're here to the next one here. You can see we're running this at full screen, uncapped frame rates. Of course, this is going to get really high resolution. This is not a hard game to run, but regardless, it looks fantastic on the OLED. As expected, smooth as butter in this game. Here's some Tony Hawk that I was playing as well, Tony Hawk 1 and 2. Again, this game is running at full resolution, full graphics and everything, and you can see it is running at a really solid FPS of over 200. Everything is buttery smooth, and it looks fantastic on this OLED display. Sorry again for the stupid glare that appeared on some of these gameplay clips, because OLED is highly reflective, as we all can tell. No matter where I go in my room, this is it's always reflecting off of something, whether it's my window, my computer screen, or something. It's super annoying. But you guys still get the gist, and unfortunately, I don't have the music or the gameplay sound playing because copyright, because of the music and all that stuff in the game. So, but it does run really well. It is super fun to play, as you guys are looking at here, and definitely no issues with this one at all. All right, so now we're here with Battlefield, and we are running this game at fully maxed. We're at overkill. We're running at full resolution here. We are not running any upscaling technique right now. Unfortunately, this game likes to disappear with the FPS sometimes, so if that FPS in the corner disappears, my apologies, but we get Right now it's actually staying on the screen, but we'll see what happens. You can see the FPS is great. VRAM, as you can tell, where it's hovering. This game looks so freaking good, too. People coming from everywhere. Oh, Jesus. This is casual breakthrough, and this mode is so much fun. Using a controller is so weird.
Hey, thanks.
You can see it's running super well, even though the VRAM is again hovering at 80%. We're running everything on overkill with no upscaling technique at all. So really no complaints. It's running at full resolution with everything turned on. So you can't ask for much better than above 60 FPS on a laptop like this. Now here we are with NBA 2K26. The VRAM on this game is the one I've seen used the most. So yeah, this game definitely uses the most VRAM out of any game that I've played so far. But it still runs alright, but it could obviously run better if it had more VRAM.
I'm Kevin Harlan. With me tonight, it's Greg Anthony and Clark Miller. Now Lenovo will be bringing us updates from the sideline.
This is completely maxed out with ray tracing and everything.
On Wednesday, they'll go up against Chet Holmgren and the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then on Friday, they'll take on Zion Williamson and the New Orleans Pelicans.
And that game against Milwaukee, that's a contest that could easily go either way. Small mistakes could be the difference, and both teams will need to be
FPS doesn't seem to like the show on this game
So look at our
sometimes.
starters for the Knicks. Anunoby out there with Karl Anthony Towns. Then it's Robinson. Then it's Mikal Bridges. And it's Brunson in at the point guard position. And for the Lakers,
That was ugly. Good
Hachimura
rebound.
is the 4 with Ayton playing the 5. Marcus Smart is out there with Luka Doncic. And it's Reeves in at the 3 spot. And so the Los Angeles Lakers get the first points of the ballgame. Towns down low. He's covered by Hachimura. And Towns gets it to go. Well, it's still early
You can
in
see the frames per second right there.
Getting an idea about which direction teams are headed in.
so true, but so
Usually
much
sits
to
above
see
60, but
between
sometimes
now
it
and
does
the
like
schedule.
small
So
hitches,
the most
probably because of that
important thing at
VRAM
this
being so
stage,
high.
building momentum.
But we are running ray tracing and everything turned to
Here's
ultra right
Doncic.
now.
After the main shot from Karl Anthony Towns. Reeves can't hit.
And the great shooters know when they've got enough opening to
But
go
it
for
still
the
runs
three.
smooth
I didn't
enough
think it was a bad
that I can
choice
play it.
on that possession.
And Brunson gets it to go. You got to get out on Brunson from there, or he's going to make it a long game. Here's Doncic. Off to a good start as he gets his first shot attempt.
And once he got to the 10, I think he was surprised to find himself that wide open.
Like throughout gameplay, it doesn't really cause me any issues.
And I thought that was going to drop. It looked good from here.
And now,
Like I can do whatever move I want.
From the sideline.
I had a chance to catch up with the Lakers head coach.
Get out of my face.
Right away, Coach shared his thoughts on Jalen Brunson. He said, quote, he's going to get hot. That's just a fact. But the moment that happens, we hope to trap him, double him, and throw water on that fire.
Oh shit, I messed that
There you
up.
have it. Sounds like Coach is hoping for the best of the
Broke my ankles.
when it comes to Brunson. Back over to you.
Alright, so now we're here with Sonic. As you guys can see, Sonic Crossroads. Everything is running fully at max. Not a super demanding game, but it's still a new game that just came out. Now we're here with some Gears of War, Reloaded. Everything maxed out. As you guys can see. Everything maxed out. We're not even using any upscaling techniques. We're using DLAA, excuse me, for anti-aliasing, but no upscaling at all. Thanks for the backup.
Focus fire on my mark.
I didn't even see that guy behind me.
This will do. Contact.
Game runs smooth as butter. Alright, so for the last game here, we're going to be taking a look at Fortnite. And as you can tell, this game's a little interesting that we're taking a look at here today because, so we have everything, the resolution maxed out, obviously. You can see DirectX 10 is what we're using. You can see the graphics quality we have set to Epic. We're using Nvidia DLSS. We're using quality. We are setting everything else to Epic. So this is one of the only games I think on this list that I actually use DLSS quality upscaling, just because I'm setting everything to Epic, including ray tracing and everything, as you guys can see here. But what's interesting is that the Battle Royale mode that's sitting here right now that we're going to be playing is the map that they're using right now is the Simpsons map, which is obviously a cartoony map per se. So it runs really, really well, but I don't know if when the main map changes back over to not to bring Springfield and it's not as colorful and cartoony, that it may not run as well. But as of right now, you'll see here in a minute, even though the VRAM usage will go to like 80%, just like some of the other games, it seems to be running pretty well with DLSS quality and everything set to Epic, at least here on the cartoon map. And I also tried the Disney new map as well. Maybe we'll jump in there for a minute and show you. And that is also still running well, slightly lower FPS, because that's actually not a colorful map like this one with the cartoony graphics. So I'm hopeful that even when the regular map is back in here, that it will still be running pretty goddamn well. If we have to lower a setting or two, it may happen, but so far, everything is maxed out. There you go, here we go. You can see it's running pretty smooth at 78 FPS, like I said, with everything maxed out, including ray tracing and everything, at least on this map. Let's see, where are we going to land here today? Let's land right here in this little area. My own dog scared the crap out of me. Thought that was something else. You can see running at 80 FPS right now. So no complaints.
What skills? Your skills are absolutely mind-blowing. Keep it up.
I'll take that. The map looks freaking awesome, though. I love how they have all the sound effects and everything. Fortnite really does a great job with their theme seasons, that's for goddamn sure. It's what keeps the game exciting. Never gets boring in Fortnite, in my opinion. Alright guys, so that is everything I wanted to show you guys here with this laptop. And overall, I am really happy with this laptop because, like I said in the beginning of the video, the point of me buying this laptop was basically laptop first for regular Windows tasks and using it for editing and, you know, going on YouTube and editing videos for you guys or creating thumbnails, whatever the case may be, regular desktop usage. Gaming was secondary because, as you guys know, like I said, I have the Legion Go 2 portably that I'm going to be carrying around to play most of my games in a portable form factor. And gaming will always be secondary on this. I will probably pull this out for gaming if I'm like at a family's house and we're just kind of sitting there not really doing anything and I want to bring out a laptop on a bigger 16-inch screen, then I can go ahead and do that. But if I'm on a plane or, you know, traveling in a car or something like that, I'll probably always pick up the Legion Go 2 because it also has an OLED screen and it also runs games super, super well on that screen. But I am happy to report on how well most of these games run. Now, I still think it's insane that Nvidia, because this is Nvidia's fault, not Lenovo's fault when it comes to putting the 5070 with an 8 gigabytes of VRAM. 8 gigabytes of VRAM, as you guys saw through some of that gameplay, is just not good enough in 2025. And hopefully, if Lenovo releases another one of these, because this released in June of 2025, so hopefully we get the next iteration of this next June of 2026. And I'll probably sell this one off at that time if they get a, you know, come with a VRAM for the 6080 or 6070, whatever they put on there, and give it at least 10 gigabytes of RAM. I think 10 gigabytes of RAM would be ideal. 12 gigabytes would obviously be a better deal if they do that for this resolution. Now, for the most part, most of the games, like you guys saw, will still run pretty well. The only one that I would say was running at crazy VRAM, which is kind of surprising that it uses even more than Battlefield, is like you guys saw, is NBA 2K26. That's the only one that like was hovering at like 95%. And yes, it was using everything, like I said, fully maxed out at full resolution with ray tracing and everything. So if I turn off ray tracing, then the VRAM goes way down and then the frame rate obviously gets a lot more stable. But for the most part, most of the other games that I was playing are perfectly fine, including Battlefield. They were running really well. at over 60 frames per second on this 5070, even though it's not fully powered like the 140 watt version of, you know, what last year's model was. I think this one's running at 110 watts instead. So you only get like a 10 to 15% increase on last year's model for this one because of that lower wattage that it's running at. But it's running most of the games I want to play on here extremely well. Yes, I think the VRAM thing is insane, and it's probably going to be one of the things that puts people off. But since I'm using this as a original, you know, for Windows first and gaming second, I think I'm okay with that for the next year while I use this laptop. And we'll see what happens next year if they finally decide to give us 8 gigabytes of VRAM on here. And also the main reason that I really like this laptop, and I hope Lenovo does not change this, is because of the white. Because you could technically spend $200 or $300 more and get the 5070 Ti that has 12 gigabytes of RAM from Lenovo, but it's the Pro model of this laptop. So not only does that mean that it's going to be a thicker laptop, which I'm going to be taking this everywhere to work, to, you know, everywhere to travel and stuff like that. So a thinner laptop is important to me. So the Pro model is already thicker, but then on top of that, it's also not white. And I think that the white on here really, really looks amazing on here, especially with the LED colors. I think it really stands out from the crowd of every laptop out there being black. And unfortunately, all the Pro model is black only. If Lenovo made that Pro model that has a 5070 Ti that goes for about $2,000, and it's about $300 more than what I got this one on sale for, and it was white, I probably would have went with that one this year, even though it was slightly thicker. But because of the fact that, like, it's thicker, and on top of the fact that it's not white, that's why I made the decision to, you know, get this one. And I think most people will be pretty happy with this laptop regardless, especially if you're in my situation where gaming is secondary and you're not buying this as your main gaming laptop. Like I said, I have a desktop sitting behind me, so if I'm home most of the time, I'm going to be on this or on my Lenovo handheld and stuff like that. So it being secondary means that, like, I'm okay with that 8 gigabytes of RAM for now. The look of this laptop is superb. I love the way that the laptop looks. I can't wait to now follow Lenovo along. I've never had a laptop in years, and I've never had anything from Lenovo until this year. But they made a fantastic laptop here, only being held back by Nvidia's stupid decision. But the look of this laptop, the white, the way it's designed, the OLED screen on here, 16 inch, is perfect, and it looks amazing with all the colors that you guys saw. On all the games that you guys saw, the way that the keyboard lights up, the power button there, the way it lights up and changes depending on the keyboard shortcuts if you're in low power mode or balanced mode or, you know, fully power optimized. I love it. And a good amount of ports with USB-C ports and regular USB-A ports on the side. You got the webcam in front, and the laptop is running great. You got a powerful processor in here. So yeah, overall, really, really happy with this. I will be definitely following Lenovo a lot more closer because they make some really good products. It's the best keyboard I've used on a laptop. I love the way that it feels. I love the way that it presses on when you, like, hit it, and the just the way that the tactile feedback works on here. I'm really glad I went with this laptop, and I think, like I said, as long as you're okay with that 8 gigabytes of RAM and that you know that, hey, there may be a few games that you play out there that you may have to lower from ultra to high possibly, or you may have to alter some settings, or, you know, deal with some certain things that you may have to alter around to get that VRAM under control, and you're okay with that, then that is something that you guys can obviously look into depending on what games you're actually playing. But hopefully the games I showed you today gives you a good idea of what you can expect with FPS and that VRAM usage, because I think most of the games I'm playing, I can still run an Ultra just fine, and it still runs really well on the 5070. So really happy to report that. As far as the battery life on this thing, if I'm running it on battery optimized and I'm not playing a game or something like that, I can definitely get about 6 hours and a half of usage just streaming videos on YouTube or watching things on the web and stuff like that, or surfing the internet. If I'm playing a heavy game like Battlefield, like you guys saw before, my battery actually died midway through that video and I had to plug it in. So you probably get like an hour and a half to 2 hours if you're running a fully demanding game on full power blast. That's probably why they don't really tell you to run that when you're on battery life, and they tell you to run balance mode instead, which will get you, significantly more battery life than an hour and a half to 2 hours than I did by running everything fully on power on battery. But hey, the options are there depending on what you're looking for. That's obviously how it goes. But yeah, guys, if you guys want to support me and the channel, there will be a link down below to purchase this laptop for yourself. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the video and you guys got a lot out of it. If you guys have any questions about anything you guys have seen, as always, leave it down below. If not, thank you guys for watching. Till next time.